Sometimes the wisest answer is no answer at all. There is a kind of power that doesn't raise its voice, doesn't argue, doesn't seek to prove anything. It's the power that stands still while the world burns with emotion. That power is self-mastery, and those who master it silence entire rooms without saying a word. Welcome to Stoic Valor, where every word is designed to awaken your inner strength and remind you that true dominance begins within. We live in a time where everyone feels the need to respond, to defend, to win. The digital age rewards noise. But the Stoics knew something modern society has forgotten, that the loudest voice rarely belongs to the wisest mind. When emotion rises, when someone provokes, criticizes, or mocks you, your greatest weapon isn't your words, it's your restraint. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by politics, betrayal, and pressure, wrote in his private notes, "You always have the power of not having an opinion." In that one line lies one of the deepest truths of Stoicism, that control begins when you choose not to react. The Stoics saw emotional reactivity as slavery, a form of self-betrayal. Every time you allow anger to dictate your words, you surrender authority over yourself. So, what are these 5 smart responses that can silence anyone, not through arrogance or ego, but through calm strength and inner clarity? Before we name them, we must understand the foundation upon which they stand. To respond like a Stoic is to live from a higher plane of consciousness. It's to recognize that most human conflict is born not from truth, but from ego. Epictetus, a slave who rose to become one of the greatest philosophers in history, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That phrase isn't about being passive, it's about being powerful enough not to let chaos rewrite your peace. A Stoic response is not silence born of fear. It's silence born of superiority, not over others, but over one's own impulses. When someone tries to insult you, they are offering you a gift. And Marcus Aurelius would ask, will you accept it? You can choose to leave the gift unopened. That's the first lesson. Mastery of self begins where reactivity ends. Imagine being in a heated argument. Every instinct in you wants to lash out, to prove your point, to defend your pride. But the Stoic knows that pride is often insecurity disguised as confidence. Real strength doesn't need validation. It already knows its worth. That is why when someone insults a Stoic, they often reply not with anger, but with curiosity, or even silence. Seneca, in his letters, taught that insults lose their power when they meet indifference. He wrote, "We are injured not by what is said about us, but by our opinion of it." Think about that. No one can truly offend you unless you allow their words to define your inner state. This is the first of the 5 responses. Silence. Not the silence of weakness, but the silence of understanding. The kind of silence that makes others realize how little power their words truly have. It's a silence that forces reflection, even guilt, in those who sought to provoke you. Because nothing is more unsettling than attacking someone who refuses to be moved. The second response is acknowledgement without engagement. Sometimes all you need to say is, "I see," or "perhaps you're right." Not sarcastically, not with malice, but with true equanimity. When you acknowledge without feeding the fire, you disarm the aggressor. Ryan Holiday in the Daily Stoic reminds us to be calm is the highest achievement of the self. Calmness doesn't mean compliance, it means command. The Stoics believed that people act according to their perceptions. So when someone attacks you verbally, they're acting from ignorance, pain, or misunderstanding. To respond with the same energy only proves you're their mirror. But when you stay centered, you become their teacher. The third Stoic response, questioning with calm curiosity. When someone criticizes you, instead of defending yourself, simply ask, "Why do you think that?" Or can you explain what makes you feel that way? This is not passive-aggressive. It's deeply strategic. It turns confrontation into reflection. You guide the person inward, forcing them to confront their own motives. Epictetus taught that philosophy is not about argument, but about examination. The wise man doesn't seek victory in debate. He seeks clarity in truth. And truth doesn't require noise. The fourth Stoic response, acceptance. When you realize that not every battle is worth fighting, you free yourself. Acceptance doesn't mean agreement. It means recognizing what's outside your control. When someone spreads rumors about you, mocks you, or tries to tear you down, your energy is too valuable to waste on defense. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." The Stoic knows that perception shapes pain. The final Stoic response, measured speech. When silence isn't enough and words are required, choose them with surgical precision. The Stoics spoke little, but every word carried weight. A measured response commands respect. It's not about sounding clever. It's about sounding controlled. Imagine replying to provocation with something as simple as, "You may be right," or "That's an interesting perspective." You're not conceding, you're transcending. Each of these responses silences others not by domination, but by contrast. When the world expects chaos and you deliver calm, you become unshakable. That's the essence of Stoicism. To be the still point in a spinning world. And yet mastering these responses requires inner work. You must first silence the noise within before you can silence the noise around you. The Stoics practice premeditatio malorum, the meditation on possible troubles. They imagined being insulted, betrayed, or criticized, and rehearsed their calm. So that when life tested them, they didn't react. They responded. As you listen to this, ask yourself, how many times have you given away your peace just to prove a point? How many times have you reacted to someone's negativity only to regret it later? The Stoic's path is not about appearing emotionless. It's about choosing which emotions deserve expression. True power is quiet. True control is invisible, and true confidence doesn't need to shout. You now understand the essence of the 5 Stoic responses. But philosophy that is not lived is nothing more than elegant words on paper. The Stoics were not poets of thought. They were warriors of mind. Their philosophy was forged in hardship, betrayal, exile, and power. So, let us bring these ideas down from the marble halls of theory and into the streets of real life. Into your life. Imagine this. You walk into work and a colleague mocks your effort in front of others. The old you wants to react, to defend, to bite back. But the Stoic within you pauses. You remember Marcus Aurelius' words. You have power over your mind, not outside events. So you take a breath. Instead of replying, you offer a slight nod and say nothing. The silence feels heavy, but also liberating. The room waits for your reaction, but it never comes. The mocker suddenly feels exposed, their energy dissolving into awkwardness. You've just demonstrated one of the greatest Stoic victories, power without resistance. This is response 1, silence in action. You see, silence is not the absence of control. It is control. Every time you stay calm, when others expect you to explode, you elevate yourself above their chaos. But don't mistake this for suppression. It's not about burying emotion, it's about mastering the timing of it. The Stoics trained their minds through awareness. Epictetus advised his students to pause before every reaction and ask, is this within my control? Here's how you can apply this immediately. Whenever you feel provoked, whether in traffic, at work, or in a relationship, do not respond for 3 breaths. 3 deep, deliberate breaths. In that moment, you reclaim command over your nervous system. This simple act turns instinct into intention. Now picture a second scenario. Someone criticizes your dream. They say your goals are unrealistic, your ideas foolish. Instead of defending yourself, you respond with, "Perhaps you're right." That's response 2. Acknowledgement without engagement. It disarms arrogance and replaces tension with curiosity. When you acknowledge without defending, you force the other person to question their own hostility. They expected friction. Instead, they meet fluidity. Ryan Holiday writes that ego thrives on reaction. When you remove reaction, ego starves. This kind of acknowledgement doesn't mean you agree. It means you're wise enough to choose your battles. It's a mental aikido, redirecting aggression without meeting force with force. To strengthen this response, practice journaling daily about emotional triggers. Ask yourself each evening, what provoked me today? How did I respond? What could I have said or not said from a place of calm? This habit transforms emotional awareness into muscle memory. Then comes response 3, questioning with calm curiosity. The next time someone attacks your ideas, instead of countering, say calmly, "Why do you feel that way?" Or "Can you tell me more?" This is psychological judo. Most people attack from emotion, not reason. By asking them to explain, you move the conversation from emotion to intellect. And often they can't justify their own aggression. You win not through dominance, but through composure. Seneca once wrote, "He who is quick to anger is quick to weakness." A person who loses their temper exposes their dependence on others for stability. But you, when you question with serenity, become their mirror, showing them the instability within themselves. Now, imagine being in an argument with your partner, friend, or family member. The tension rises, voices begin to sharpen, and then you stop. You lower your tone and say softly, "Help me understand what's really bothering you." The energy shifts. The conflict dissolves into dialogue. This is Stoicism in motion, wisdom that turns confrontation into connection. At this point in the script, pause and reflect with your viewers. If this message is resonating with you, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Valor, because here we don't just reflect, we evolve. Together we build minds unshaken by the world. Now let's continue. The 4th response, acceptance. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest virtues to live by. Acceptance doesn't mean apathy. It means you see things as they are, not as your emotions wish them to be. Imagine someone lies about you. They twist your words, distort your image. You feel the heat rising. But then you remember, I cannot control what others say. I can only control how I carry myself. Marcus Aurelius faced this every day as Emperor of Rome. Betrayal was routine. Deceit was constant. Yet he wrote, "When someone does wrong, it's because they don't know what's right. Teach them if you can. If not, accept it. That's not weakness. That's divine strength." Acceptance means choosing peace over the illusion of control. To apply this, practice the Stoic exercise of view from above. Close your eyes and imagine rising above your city, your home, your body, looking down at your life as if you were observing a small figure among billions. The insults, the gossip, the petty conflicts, how small they appear from that height. This visualization used by ancient Stoics instantly restores perspective. And now we reach the 5th response, measured speech. Words are like arrows. Once released, they cannot return. A Stoic speaks rarely, but when he does, every syllable is chosen with intention. When you're calm, your words carry weight. When you're emotional, your words lose meaning. The next time you must respond, in a meeting, a debate, or a personal disagreement, pause before speaking. Feel your heartbeat slow. Then choose words that reflect thought, not reaction. Say less, mean more. To strengthen this skill, practice speaking slowly. Literally slow down your sentences. When you speak slower, you think clearer, and others feel your authority without you needing to raise your voice. This is how great leaders, from Marcus Aurelius to modern Stoic thinkers like Ryan Holiday, command attention without aggression. But here's the deeper truth. These responses are not tricks to manipulate others. They are disciplines to free you. Each response is a doorway to inner peace. When you no longer feel the need to win every argument, you begin to win the only battle that matters, the battle within. Every insult becomes a test of strength. Every criticism a mirror. Every challenge a classroom. This is how Stoicism transforms pain into purpose and chaos into clarity. Now imagine you're standing in front of someone who's trying to break you emotionally, verbally, spiritually. You remember everything you've learned. You stay silent. You acknowledge without fighting. You ask with calm curiosity. You accept what's beyond your control. And when you finally speak, your words are calm, wise, and few. The person before you is silenced. Not because you defeated them, but because your presence revealed their own unrest. That is the art of Stoic response. It's not about silencing others. It's about silencing the storm inside yourself so deeply that others can't help but feel it. Your peace becomes louder than their noise. The true test of wisdom is not in how much you know, but in how much peace you can keep when the world tries to take it from you. Every argument, every insult, every moment of provocation, they're not interruptions to your path. They are your path. Life is constantly asking, have you mastered yourself yet? And every encounter gives you the chance to answer. A Stoic doesn't chase validation. They don't need to prove their worth in noise. Their silence is their proof. Because when you master the ability to stay calm in the presence of chaos, you rise above it. The one who controls their reaction controls the outcome. The one who controls their words controls their destiny. Think about the people who've left a mark on you. The mentors, the leaders, the friends who seem unshakable. What did they all have in common? It wasn't their volume. It was their presence. The way they could silence a room, not with dominance, but with depth. Their peace radiated louder than anyone's anger. That's not charisma. That's self-command. The essence of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius led one of the greatest empires on earth, yet wrote nightly about humility, anger, and patience. The best revenge, he said, is not to be like your enemy. Imagine living that truth. Imagine walking away from conflict not with bitterness, but with clarity, because you know that every reaction reveals who you truly serve, your ego or your reason. Let's return to those 5 Stoic responses, not as tactics, but as virtues. Silence, born of inner strength. Acknowledgement, born of understanding. Curiosity, born of wisdom. Acceptance, born of perspective. Measured speech, born of mastery. Together they form a code, a quiet armor you carry through every storm. When someone mocks you, remember, their words are only echoes of their own turmoil. When someone misunderstands you, remember, it's not your job to convince, only to stay aligned with your truth. When life shakes you, remember, the roots of a calm mind grow deepest in the winds of adversity. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Every minute spent in anger, in argument, in reactivity is a piece of your life you'll never get back. The Stoic doesn't waste that time. They observe, they breathe, they act with intent. So the next time someone challenges you, pause. Let your silence speak for you. Let your calm be your argument. Let your peace be your reply. Because no one can silence a person who no longer needs to speak to prove their power. And as you walk through life carrying this discipline, something magical happens. Your relationships change. Your conversations become deeper. Your emotions stop owning you. You start noticing how much energy you once gave away to nonsense. You stop fighting battles that don't matter. You realize that the goal was never to silence others. It was to find silence within yourself. This is what the Stoics meant by living according to nature. Nature doesn't rush. It doesn't argue. The river flows around the rock, not against it, yet still reaches the ocean. That's how a Stoic lives, flowing through challenges, never losing direction, never losing self. And this journey never ends. You will fail at times. You will react. You will slip. But each failure is a chance to practice. Each mistake is a lesson in disguise. Epictetus told his students, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't found in possessions or power. It's found in that moment between impulse and response, the sacred pause where your destiny is written. So I leave you with this question, not to answer now, but to carry with you. When life tests your peace, will you remember who you are, or will you forget? Because in that instant, you decide what kind of warrior you are, one who fights the world or one who conquers the self. If this message helped you see a piece of truth, share it. Let others find the calm they've been searching for. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Stoic Valor, because here we don't just learn philosophy. We live it. Together, we rise through discipline, we grow through silence, and we discover that the greatest strength is serenity. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, the one who remains calm holds the real power. Speak little, mean everything, and let your peace be the sound that silences the world.